The Whole Woman by Germaine Greer. I absolutely love this book. I find myself going back to it time and time again when I need to dump fuel on my feminist rage. Greer is an enigmatic persona. She seems so full of contradictions as a feminist, but I cannot help but be drawn to how she writes and argues on behalf of womankind. The Whole Woman is meant to be a sequel to her famous work, The Female Eunuch, which is one of the most iconic and important works to come out of the women's liberation movement. She revisits many of the things she looked at in The Female Eunuch and shows just how far women still have to go in the getting of our liberation. Each passage or chapter deals with powerful subjects. Some of the titles are Mind, Body, Power, Fear, Girl Power, each ripping into the ideas and lies and disappointments of the life of a modern woman. The book is considered controversial because of a chapter called Pantomime Dames, wherein Greer totally eviscerates the notion of so-called trans women and exposes the sinister misogynistic implications behind the whole concept. It harkens directly back to the point of her work, The Female Eunuch. It is culturally acceptable for men to appropriate the title and social role of woman because women are not seen as a sex at all. We are completely castrated by male supremacy. She makes the statement, the insistence that man-made women be accepted as women is the institutional expression of the mistaken conviction that women are defective males, which we all know is a patriarchal reversal. It is men who are defective females, genetically speaking. Each chapter effortlessly flows. Her gifted writing style makes it even easier to see just how connected all women are by patriarchal oppression, despite it taking very different forms. Greer also makes a lot of good tactical points about how we as feminists should use our energy. She speaks of the pointlessness of organizing marches, for example. She says that unless you can draw massive amounts of women, marches are really pointless because they're meant to be a symbolic protest. They are not the vehicle by which political change is brought about. And I think this is very clear with things like, the modern day slut walk phenomenon. Now, apart from that, bringing about absolutely no change in terms of how women are perceived. Taking on the label slut obviously isn't going to stop women being victim blamed because obviously culturally a slut is a woman who enjoys being victimized by men. So why on earth women would appropriate that for themselves is beyond me. But even so, these are not changing the culture. Women are still, bullied essentially by men into silence regarding our sexual victimization. So it's really important to look at what we're doing tactically and how our energies are being spent, because obviously as women we only have so much energy. And she makes this point in her book as well, because women are so often working 2 to 3 jobs, many of them unpaid in terms of the labor they provide for family members and for their communities in general. This is just an amazing feminist work. You see the same woman that wrote The Female Eunuch analyze and go over her own work, reflecting and adding to it, never dismissing her own anger or her own views. I really love that about it. She just continually stays on track. It's like you see it's just like the same woman, only older. Obviously she's changed in many ways, but she's not changed her convictions, and that's really powerful because so many do. I think because of all of this, it's a very important work, and I think it should be read by most feminists if they can. It's definitely one of those very easy to read books, but also packs a lot of feminist fury in it. And I definitely would recommend it as a first feminist book to give to a woman who's not really familiar with feminist politics. She remains a true women's liberationist, not a seeker of equality, but a radical still longing for revolution deep within her heart. I think that pretty much sums up the kind of energy that Germaine Greer brings to her writing, and especially to how she argues on behalf of women. As a cast of people, she really strongly believes in the fact that we need to have a revolution, not just this, ridiculous seeking of equality with men, when very clearly the way men have constructed society and the way that they behave themselves is not something to aspire to. I absolutely adore this work, and I really recommend it. Check it out.